going on, everybody? My name is Michael Weir, and this is my movie review for the movie Tenet. Now, Tenet is a brand new movie, and we are finally getting to see brand new movies again. The last time I went to a theater and saw a brand new movie was March of this year. It is September. We finally got to see Tenet. Theaters reopened. They social distanced at those theaters. And I'm not going to lie to you. Before I get into this review, I'm going to talk about that. The social distancing at theaters, I'm not mad at it. Now, I understand the theater needs to fill every seat to survive, so I do hope we get to normal once again. But I'm not going to lie. I reserved 2 seats, top middle, my absolute favorite seats in the house, and then everything around me was X'd off. And I'm not mad that I didn't have to look over someone's hair or someone's hat, or people weren't chewing popcorn right next to me. That wasn't a bad experience. I'm not going to lie about that. I also kind of like that you could order all your stuff online now and walk up and be like, yep, Michael Weir, thank you, get your popcorn, get your drink, walk straight. You didn't have to wait in a line. It was just, if anything good came out of this, it's those 2 things. But like I said, I would like things to get back to normal because I would like theaters to make more money and I'd like to see more movies. Stuff has still been bumped to next year, which kind of bummed me out. But we finally got Tenet. That's what we're talking about today. I went and saw it and I was like, I need to see that again because I'm still confused. Saw it a second at a time. Think I have a little bit better of a grasp of what the movie was about. I'm looking forward to talking about it with you guys. Let's do the review. And so guys, the movie Tenet is directed by the one, the only, Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan, the same man that made the Dark Knight trilogy, the same man that made The Prestige, Interstellar, and my personal favorite of his, Inception. Well, I tell people my personal favorite, Inception, but obviously I love the Dark Knight. But if I separate the Batman movies, because, Batman for life, if I separate the Batman movies from the rest of Christopher Nolan's inventory of movies that he has directed, I go with Inception. That one is just... I love that movie. In fact, theaters were open 2 weeks prior to Tenet coming out, and they were playing a bunch of old movies, and Inception was one of the ones playing, and I went and saw it again with my wife. She had never seen it, so we went and saw it, and I love it. It's beautiful. It's just a great movie. But we're not talking about Inception today. We're talking about Tenet, so let's move on. This movie stars John David Washington as the lead character. It also stars Robert Pattinson as like the 1A character, if I may, or 1B, I guess, because 1A would be John David Washington. Robert Pattinson they're both phenomenal in this movie, but Robert Pattinson really upped his game, in my opinion. I mean, I saw him originally, like everyone else did, in the Twilight movies, and, those are what they are. I feel like he and most of the cast acting got better as they went, but now it's like, oh my god. And now, of course, Robert Pattinson's the new Batman. We saw that preview a couple weeks ago, so I'm not on the Robert Pattinson train, I'm not going to lie. So I've really enjoyed his performance in this movie. The movie also stars Kenneth Branagh as the villain, the antagonist of this movie. He does a great job. I do miss that gigantic mustache that he had in Murder on the Orient Express, but But that's your casting lineup, and let's jump into the storyline of this movie. Let's get into some details without giving you any spoilers. This movie is essentially a spy thriller. This is a James Bond movie without using James Bond. That's really what it is. If John David Washington was the James Bond character, and maybe Robert Pattinson was his Q, I guess is the best way I can put it, because the 2 of them go on like this mission to save the world. I mean, they're stopping a bomb that's going to essentially merge time forwards and backwards together, and they've got to find a way to stop that bomb from going off. And this movie uses this back and forth technology where things will play in reverse at the same time things are playing forward. That's what this movie does. It's like a spy thriller, but with a Christopher Nolan twist, because everything has to happen in reverse order in the majority of his movies. I'm not sure why he does that, but it's what he does. That is the most I can tell you about this movie for 2 reasons. 1, that's the most I understand from this movie. 2, I don't want to really spoil anything, because if I go any further into the details of this movie, I feel like I spoil things. So instead, let me give you some things I like, some things I dislike, and I'll give you a rating. So the first thing I like about this movie, guys, is, well, the spectacle of this movie is awesome. Seeing this on a gigantic screen, and again, it's my first time being back to a gigantic screen, technically, for a new movie, I should say. It was fun to watch in that regard. I mean, you see a battle in the last act of this movie that is happening in reverse and forwards at the same time, and just watching it on the screen, you're confused as hell, but it's fun to watch. It's like, oh my god, that is awesome to watch. So I will say the spectacle of this movie is great. If you walk into this movie like, man, I'm expecting a spectacle, you're gonna walk out like, alright, I don't know what I saw, but I loved it. Because the spectacle of this movie, the fighting and the action in this movie is great. There's quite a few fight scenes in this movie, and whenever they happen for a purpose, and you enjoy them. They're a good time. Another thing I'll say about this movie, I already talked about the cast, but the actors did a great job. I feel like everybody did their job in this movie, which Nolan's great at doing. He's one of the great directors, him, Tarantino, directors like them that are able, Scorsese's another one, to bring out the best in an actor, regardless of who they have on screen. I'll be honest with you, I don't really know John David Washington from anything else, but I will watch that guy in anything else going forward because of his performance in this movie. And I already touched on Pattinson. I think he's fantastic in this movie, and I think he's the best character, best actor in this movie. I really do. But ultimately, I think that where this movie runs into some negatives would be, first off, the entire movie is loud. And not like, I'm an old man and I don't like loud things. I love my movies loud. But I also like to hear the dialogue that's in the movie. Whoever sound mixed this movie, if it was Nolan himself, shame on you, but whoever sound mixed this movie was like, okay, we're going to put the speaking at a 25, and we're going to put everything else at 100. Because the music and the overlay tone of is the best way I can put it. It's so loud you can barely hear them at certain points in the movie. And this movie is very, very heavy built on exposition. And much like the movie Inception, and I'm sorry I keep comparing this to Inception, but much like the movie Inception, a lot of this is, okay, here's this very intricate story we have to tell you. And then if you just go with us on this 2-hour and 45-minute ride, you're going to enjoy it at the end. And it works in Inception. But in this movie, they spend so much of the movie with this loud noise that there are scenes where they're explaining what Tenet is, whether it's really fast to the characters or very slow so the audience can understand it. Whether they're doing either one of those things, it sometimes doesn't even, you can't even hear the words. And at first I was like, okay, maybe this is just my first time around, so I'll go back and see it again. So I went and saw it again, and I really had to listen for some certain details and had to be locked in. This is not a movie you'll be able to take home and just watch while your kids are running around. This is a movie that you will need everything quiet for and just focus on it, which again, I enjoyed it more the second time around, and I did pick up on a few things the second time around, but I shouldn't have to do that. When I left the theater after watching a movie like Inception, I left there with a general knowledge and understanding of the movie. Whereas with this one, I left kind of confused, and I was just like, yeah, okay, I saw the movie, whatever. And I shouldn't feel like that for my #1 most anticipated movie of the year. I should walk out of there like, man, I'm so glad that was my most anticipated movie. As it stands, it was my most anticipated movie. I have to own that. But it you know, just kind of forgettable. And that essentially are the things I like and the things I dislike. I mean, the movie is a lot of fun in the moment. But when you walk out, you just kind of like, I saw a movie. Which leads me to my rating, and of course my rating for this movie is, it's confusing, it's noisy, but there's a lot going on. So maybe it needs several viewings, I don't know. Maybe when I watch it 5, 10 times, maybe if I invest that much time into this, I'll walk away like, this is a brilliant movie, maybe. But is it worth my time? I don't know. I feel like a movie should grip you on the first time and make you want to watch it the second time. This movie didn't grip me the first time. I did go back and see it the second time because I was like, I'm confused and I gotta get a review out and try to get it to these, people that watch my reviews. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't really have this buzz to go see it again. And it's a Nolan movie, and it's like all that's new that's out right now, and I should want to go back and watch it again. And I really don't have the want to go do that. And that's too bad. And that's my movie review. Guys, if you enjoyed this movie review, hit the like button. Make sure you share it with your friends if you enjoyed this review. And also, make sure you subscribe to this channel because I'm trying to, as new movies come out, I'm going to get you reviews as quickly as I possibly can. And finally, if you've seen Tenet and you've got thoughts, put those thoughts in the comment section down below. We'll talk about it. I love going back and forth with you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.